scrim and let everything mesh. So I'm interested to see what will happen. I believe this is Weston's debut in the North American Strikers League as well. I can't remember. Definitely not Jay's for sure. So there is a little bit of experience here, especially Leo Leon obviously has been here forever, and having at least one hardcore veteran I think is definitely helpful. But I think it'll be interesting to see how Weston performs here in the series.
Yeah, completely agree. And this is the one, like you mentioned before, you can drop an all-star lineup. All these players are pretty strong subbing in, but they don't have that top-level NASL experience like some of these other people do, and especially Bunn Bunn, who have been such a veteran to the scene. So even then, they're fighting a little bit of an uphill battle with this roster. But Leo Leon, I will say, if you guys don't know behind the scenes, this guy is an absolute scrim goat. He will do everything and anything to make sure that he is not the reason in terms of, like, he will always make sure the team is prepared. Like, he'll set up all the scrims. Like this guy, when we were back in Lob City, it was like 8 to 10 hours of scrims a week, and he was always on top of it. So I know that even though this is a substitute roster, they have done everything in their power to make sure that they can get the best possible result. You know, if it doesn't go through, it doesn't go through, but I believe in RTF to try to clutch things up, and hopefully that the introduction to a new team combination won't be the reason that they fall.
Agree with that. Even though they let in a goal, there was certain good moments. I actually saw that card play that Weston did into the Juliet. That looked pretty cool. And one thing I want to turn attentions to as well is the slick kicks on the Juliet. This is something that I think back when Juliet had a lot more speed, she would elect into a lot, but it feels like it's a little bit rarer nowadays. What are your thoughts on that, Weston?
So the trade-off that you have here with the Slick Kicks Juliet is you give up that midfielding prowess that a lot of the brawlers have honestly been transitioning more to, like, double midfield. We see this quite a bit, where the brawler will stand on the midfield line and just wait for a pass or a position play from their other midfielder or the other forward, and then go in and make a play. But the way that Sector 12 loves to play is slick kicks all the way. He will just be in the enemy net. We also saw this last game with PPL, where Fiery opted in for a slick kicks every single game on both the Rasmus and the Juliet. Oh my goodness, KO coming in from the top pocket already. Leon getting some forward pressure going. But the slick kicks ends up adding in so much offensive pressure, right? You get it. I would say the main trade-off here is that it gives you the ability. Oh my goodness, another point. It gives you the ability to follow up on a barrier into a second barrier into a potential goal. Like that is like one of the biggest strengths of slick kicks, is when you're in that corner, you're able to catch rebounds, you're able to follow through on a barrier take and lead into like multiple successive like wins in that point, if that makes sense.
It feels like definitely are. I feel like if there is a goalie that you can't really snowball against, it is the Finny, right? Once it gets up into her face and you can't use those abilities proactively, it feels like she doesn't have too many tools outside of maybe card to knock you away. But if you've already got the core at that point, it's a little scary. And what is also scary right now is the amount of KOs that we just saw. Both midfielders taken off the map here. Leo Leon forced to limp away from the play as well. This allows Lilybun in Sector 12 to actually press the advantage. You seeing that dribble right there with a flip, almost deadly from Sector 12 there, but going to get cleared out here. Weston remaining calm right now. Liari trying to get Sector 12 another opportunity, but so far both forwards here of RTF playing interference, able to get the goalie barrier, but not without their losses. Leo Leon now taken off the pitch. Sector 12 here waiting for his dash punch to come out, tries to win it all with strikes, but Weston still gets it done. But a good pass from Liari gets Sector 12 the field goal sent right through. I think that's going to be a nice set for Bunn Bunn. 3-0 here as we enter draft. Lilybun going to be the MVP here on the debut.
Yeah, and one thing I want to point out here is the starting awakenings, all 6 opting in for Twin Drive instead of taking any sort of Spark of Agility there. I was actually pretty surprised that Sector 12 chose not to go Spark of Agility and goes for the second dash on the Juliet, which is really strong, right? And when you pair that with the slick kicks, having the ability to move around the map, get a strike reset off with your second dash as well, and we saw that lead into more powerful plays by Sector 12. So that does mean that the Spark of Agility is back in the pool, and we can get, you know, Liari in this case, who just picked up the Spark of Focus, become the mayor and get agility, strength, and maybe even Spark of Leadership if it ends up going in that favor. But taking a look at everything else, it's pretty, oh my goodness, a very quick double barrier comes through, but pretty strong awakenings for honestly everyone in this draft. We got Colossus over on Dubu, who already has the pauldrons. We got a Sized Awakening on the Juliet, especially, again, synergizing even more with that Slick Kicks, synergizing with that Twin Drive as well, and then Amy on the Timeless Creator. So I would say the only one who didn't really get something super amazing is Weston, but overall, I would say both teams are pretty happy with how the draft went.
Almost makes you wonder if this aerials was a deny against the Juno or something like that, because the jump dash increase can be potentially deadly, but it really feels like it's not needed. Liari getting a goal with the jump right there. And on top of that, right, like you mentioned, right, the spark of I believe, I forgot the spark that was in the starting Awakening draft, but the spark added back into the pool. On top of that, makes that one spark showing of spark of focus really good, it feels like. So I wonder if Liari is actually that upset over the aerials deny.
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite things in OS is when you're later in the lineup for the draft, and you just pick up a spark, right? It's a set one spark pickup where there's only one spark shown in that draft. Means that you can at least guarantee, like, you won't just be like super denied a spark. You'll have a shot at another spark later down the line, even if it ends up being the remaining 3 sparks altogether. You'll be able to contest for 2 sparks, which is always a good feeling there. So, oh my goodness, what a set of plays. And we're seeing all these extra abilities from like Scyther 12 lead into so much there. That we saw 2 dashes come through, 1 dash punch and then a follow-up with a second dash. And then Lilybun being able to walk forward, especially with that 3-on-2 power play there. And with this Dubu, with Might of Colossus, 152 power, that Dubu secondary does so much damage. The next time, just pay attention. The next time Lilybun slams someone, if Lilybun slams Leo, that's half of Leo's health, by the way. So that is a defensive goalie, but also a damage powerhouse raining in the backside. Oh my goodness. And there goes Jay. Pretty much has to fall back completely, but at least gets the barrier for their troubles before having to just like back out of the play.
Really unfortunate black hole bounce right there to just lose that final goalie barrier. Now Weston has to defend here against the Simon Sacred 12. And it's a little great. It's a little hard, but the KO is found. The power play is here. Leo Leon in a good position here to contest, but wow, such a heads-up play from Liari for that slime on the defense. But it doesn't matter though. Jay gets the corner bounce up to Leo Leon, dimes him up for that one, and that's going to be a goal here for RTF. Something on the board. And honestly, a good play on from the forward duo here of RTF. I really felt like they like you mentioned, they felt like they scrimmed it out. They had this planned out. This is something that they've done before, and they were able to execute that on a NASL team, which is much easier said than done.
Yep. And as the game goes on and the level ups come through, hopefully the amount of stagger that they have will end up mitigating some of the raw power, especially on Leo Leon in the back line when trying to go for some of these plays and Lilybun being able to come through with that damage. But we have the follow-up. It's so hard to not get both barriers taken away from this Juno-Juliet combo there. And we see Scyther 12 use that secondary once again, trying to catch Jay off of guard. Isn't able to connect completely, but the offensive pressure between, and there it is. There's another slam into a slime that took out 75% of Lilion's health into the backline. The flip from Scyther 12 gets double KO there, instantly turns level 7, and that is a second lead going over to Bunn Bunn Bonanza, or a second set going over to Bunn Bunn Bonanza.
Yeah, this play from Bunn Bunn in the corners look suffocating. I mean, you have like 4 Juno slimes there, Scyther 12 with 2 dashes, and on top of that, you have this Lilybun, this omnipotent threat that could come up, kill you, or defend against you, or plant down a Tofu Fortress. Feels very tough, and looking at this draft, I'm not sure if this is looking quite better. The heavy impacts picked up, but I think there's some other significant picks to look at as well.
Yeah, taking a look, I mean, that's a pretty funny pickup. The heavy impact, most likely, it's not a super amazing on the Dubu, but it is a deny away from the Amy back there. Also can work for CDR on Weston as well, which is deny once again. But overall, honestly, a lot of damage brought into RTF's roster with this set, right? We have 1-2 punch on the, what is his character's name again? Is this Kazan? Yep, I just completely blanked out there, but a lot of damage. 1-2 punch, ad rush on the Amy, and then pair that up with the prize fighter on Weston, right? So a lot of damage comes through, but this pressure that they have on the barriers and the ability to take both barriers and then at least have a shot onto the net is so suffocating, like you said. So let's see if they can survive that onslaught and then try to turn it around, which they managed to get both barriers though for their return. Oh no, hate to see it, Brick Bat.
Yeah, that's sometimes Finny take it. The big finish can be a little bit difficult to pull off, especially under some high pressure situations where you're not sure where the core speed, like how far the core is going to be pushed in to the big finish too as well. So it's hard to really time the judgment. I think that's just what happened there. It's hard because there's no one. Jay was really forced to retreat. Talking about damage, Sector 12 has been kind of a damage for this whole game. We saw a lot of KOs earlier actually coming from him. And I think that was just meant that Weston didn't have a backline to support his kind of aggressive Finny play, and that feels really rough to deal with as already Sector 12. Again, the pressure does not relent. Another dash punch found, one mistake, one goal. That's just that's how it is against Sector 12 here.
Yeah, and that is almost a fully stacked up pancakes as well. Juliet with speed, with slick kicks, with two secondaries and size. When you don't have a defensive goalie to fight back, right? Like, let's say this was an Atlas instead of a Finny, you'd at least be able to damage Sector 12 back while defending at the same time. But without any of that defensive capability, Sector 12 is just running amok. Tries to go for the KO onto Leo Leon. Liari able to get that clear and then jumps right back into the bottom, unable to find the barrier that leads into these double barriers. But Leo Leon trying his best, but just getting hit by these stray abilities, pretty much taken out. Has to dodge the Sector 12 ultimate there and run all the way back. The big finish comes through from Weston, tries to pass it back down to Leo, but caught over by the jump from Liari. And now we are in that deadly corner where Sector 12 is able to sign up. Guys goes for the secondary there, isn't able to connect, gets, oh my goodness. Wow. I mean, this guy just went on a one-man army streak against 3 players, and that's game 1. I didn't even realize. I thought we were going into another set there.
I definitely feel that. Yeah, it feels like Sector 12 he just came, he saw it, and he conquered. He found every opportunity. It felt like a textbook classic Sector 12 performance, right? That's kind of the Bunn Bunn that we've come to know and love over these seasons, right? Sector 12 getting a lot of support from Lilybun, getting a lot of support from Liari. They were playing kind of some more defensive roles, or basically the back line to Sector 12's offense, and they allow Sector 12 to take these 1v2, 1v3 plays in order to just secure goal after goal after goal after goal. And it really felt like that enabling pushed Sector 12 to the next level. That is why he's in contention for one of the biggest kind of hands down like carries or like best brawlers in the league, right? I think that's kind of his legacy, and I think this is just another game to add to that long resume already of amazing performances.
Yeah, was Sector 12 Rookie of the Year on the first Bunn Bunn season where he like previewed? I cannot remember. I feel like he was, but I mean, this guy is so insane. Like, we know his Rasmus for being amazing. We see the Juliet, and he sticks to his playstyle, right? He doesn't like conform to the meta. Like, he just picks what he thinks is good and works with his playstyle, which tends to be speed, size. I mean, it's generic brawler stuff, right? But like, we don't see him opt in for the pummelers. We don't see him opt in for the Maxwells. He just goes slick kicks all the time and is a menace in the enemy backline every time he goes for one of these barrier breaks.
Yeah, agreed. It's just like, I mean, I think that's just the story of the game, right? Bun Bun got the core into Weston's face and they did not let it leave. And when you're a Finny, right, there's only really so much you could do. We even saw like an own goal there. And that really doesn't happen, right? It's not, I don't think it's because Weston's a bad player, a bad unfitting or anything like that, but it really just feels like the pressure forces you to start making plays, to start making mix-ups, right? You don't want to hold the Finny big finish the entire time. You want to let it go early to see if you could catch like maybe a reaction. And when you're relying on a reaction check in NASL, things go south very quickly. So a very strong performance, Bunn Bunn, game number 1 here. I'm wondering though what RTF can do game number 2. I believe it's their map pick with Clarion Test Chamber. Am I correct?
Yep. Yeah. So Clarion Test Chambers, the issue with this map is, although it is RTF's pick, it is also historically a very strong Bunn Bunn pick as well, because of the roster of Sector 12 once again, right? The Rasmus, Kazan, Julie are so prevalent on this map that you tend to see like every time I picture Sector 12 on this map, I just picture him being a Kazan, Julie, or Rasmus getting these KOs off the sides every time with either the open form primary on Kazan, the pendulum swing on the Rasmus, or the dash punch on Juliet. He's so good at sniping these KOs and leading into these power plays that I feel like it isn't a map that necessarily benefits RTF because of Bunn Bunn's lack of expertise on it. It's more so just a comfort pick for RTF that they've practiced and they're good on, and hopefully they can use that advantage of knowing the map well to be able to execute their game plan to the level that they want to. But taking a look at what we have on the starting awakenings here, it is spec training and a team player. team player no longer that uh team players no longer that awakening like it was a few seasons back, where all three players would just take it, or even like the two players of midfield plus goalie. It is an awakening now that tends to be mostly goalie, sometimes midfield, depending on what the other starting awakening is. The speed has been reduced quite a bit, which means that you need to watch out for some of these dangerous spec training brawlers that can come through, whether the X or the Kazan, or even the Zentaro, which in this case was banned away. So I'm not sure what your thoughts on this starting set of awakenings and roster or character picks looks like as of right now.
Yeah, I want to draw attention to when you're mentioning good spec training brawlers. The first thing that flashed in my mind was the Scyther 12 special, right? That Luna, which has been respect banned out both games. I think that's a pick that I've been seeing a lot of, right? Even in NASA, we saw like Tempo Melon using it to pretty good effect, I think. And spec training obviously could supercharge that, especially right in maps like the Era variant, right, where that spec training could basically just nuke the orb right away and get you that power. So that's a huge chunk. But it's going to be banned out. And on the flip side as well, just thinking about what's good into core speed, right? Because you're going to be seeing a lot of that with this team player in. And if I'm looking at these team compositions, I'm really thinking that Mako and the Juno are just going to be better prepared to deal with some of the team player shenanigans, especially with some of the geometry that Clarion is known for. It really feels like they've got kind of some of the more reactive kind of play styles. Estelle, right? Good using the core speed, but I'm not sure if she's as good defending against it outside of maybe the crystallized thorns.
Yeah, completely agree there. One of the things with this map, you mentioned the geometry of the map. It's actually relatively hard to get good passes with team player out. Just picture on the opposite end of Clarion, something a map that's very open and very large, like Otten City, where your two brawlers can be anywhere, and you just need to hit it in their direction, and the ball will go. There's no geometry there to block the path. But here, a lot of the times, your clears are based on the map geometry, which means that you might not necessarily get that team player proc off, depending on what map iteration you are on. So I think the value of team player is less in this particular map, and then we'll see some more damage come through. Like again, taking a look at RTF's pick, it is Julie, Juno, Mako, which you don't necessarily think are the highest damage picks, but the Juno base damage is so high, and then on top of that, Juliet is one of the strongest brawlers in the game at the moment. That this ends up being a damage comp. Like I wouldn't be surprised if RTF just starts getting KOs pretty easily with this starting awakening, and then ends up snowballing it later. But again, that only happens if RTF can maintain control, doesn't get overwhelmed by the offense of Bun Bun like it happened in game one.
Mm. Yeah, and I was about to talk to the Drek Juno midfield matchup, but that's not that's not a Drakkar midfielder. That
Oh,
is a reprise of Drek in the brawler role out of Scythe to 12,
mhm.
another staple pick. He's just known for these, huh?
Yeah, and that's a lot of damage that comes through with the spec training on Drakkar, right? Especially if you go, I don't know if he's gonna go Pummeler Strike, but one thing that happens is just like a small, quick combo interaction with Drek is typically you just go strike, or you go shotgun ultimate with Drek, but depending on how it works, sometimes you have so much knockback that you have to do it in the other order, and you just have to ultimate first and then shotgun. And it's like some of these small breakpoints that does make a difference, especially if you take pummelers. But watch out for the initial impact with that spec training Drek ultimate. Sometimes that'll just snipe someone off the map without anything. Just like if you're not paying attention and you're on the side across the field and you get hit by the Drek ultimate, like you will just die. And
Mm.
that is something that can happen very easily on this map. Oh, actually, not opting in for slick kicks or pummelers, instead going for siphoning wand.
I think that just speaks to the game plan that Scyther 12 wants to do. We saw a lot of it in the previous game. A lot of pressure came out of Weston. But we actually, you and Vaughn talked about it, though, that when Mako slams down the drum and bass, she is very susceptible to be hit by key skill shots. And I think with this specialized training on the Molten Bolt, if Mako slows herself down and makes herself vulnerable, I feel like Scyther 12 with a Siphoning Wand is going to want to take advantage of that. And we'll see, especially as damage ramps up. I think when damage is a big, breakpoint, I think the first set matters even more than it normally does, and it matters a lot typically. So if Scyther 12 can get some sort of build down, which in this Draft Awakening, you're almost certainly going to find, I think Weston's life can become very miserable very fast.
Yep, and we already saw Scyther 12 walking in, just trying to deny the orb, gets level 2, gets the big orb in the middle as well. Has access to that ultimate. He was waiting for an opportunity to either use it on Weston or use it as a scoring pressure, but there it is, goes into the Xeno Cloak, goes invisible, finds the KO on the bottom onto Jay there, and already has a lead. But again, this isn't Pummeler, so you don't have that speed advantage here, which does end up making a difference, but it does not matter because 3v2 up front to find the pass onto Liari, who gets it below Weston there. Really good shot placement, getting it through without Weston being able to catch up in time. I was going to say, not having access to that Pummelers means a lot of these power plays aren't as super effective as they normally are with some of the other direct brawlers that come through, like maybe Bells, who really opts in for that Pummeler's 3v2 power play type of the Drakkar play style. But instead, we have the survivability of the... Oh my goodness, there's so much damage, Brick Bat.
Yeah, I saw Weston just like walk up, strike the core, and he lost half his health just to do that. And if that's the Scyther 12 tax for what you got to do to interact with the core, maybe Weston's life doesn't need scaling to become miserable. It might just start miserable.
Yep.
And yeah, already look at Leo Leon, right? No evade already. Half HP, has to walk away to get the orb, and he's not able to play on defense here. And Lily Bunn is so confident on the finish, she's walking up into the goo just to give Scyther 12 more opportunities to get it through, and it feels like we just had a 1 minute set to start the game.
Yeah, we talked for like 2 talking points and the set is over. And now going into this, there's so much damage available for Scyther 12 that you cannot deny at all. Oh my goodness, taking a look, like I wonder if we're gonna go glass cannon on the Finny just to make sure that all the... Yep, okay, so now you have heavy impact 1-2 punch available for the Drakkar. Doesn't matter what you take in this prize fighter too. I don't know, yeah, you take the heavy impact there. And now I feel bad for what's gonna happen to Weston. Like, I don't know if we're legally allowed to show this on stream.
It's disgusting, and it's like, what are you gonna do? Like, what are you gonna use your ensnare drone for? What are you sniping with the primary? Good luck getting your drone base out for more than half a second. What does Mako bring to the table now that Scyther 12 cannot immediately take away, and on top of that, just like kill you? You know, for fun, because he doesn't even need to kill you to get the value off of the Drakkar pick. He just needs to start interrupting a lot of the snipes, a lot of the drum and bass, and you get value. So yeah, even if he doesn't get the kill on Weston, he could effectively just negate this entire pick.
Yeah, he just needs this, like, we already saw the amount of damage he did to Leo Leon, completely negated that prize fighter, right? Leo Leon has no awakening besides the spec training there. And Scyther 12 just needs to hang out there, wait for the ball to come near someone, and then choose to use his abilities at the same time, right? Like, you're not going to see, like, the difference between, like, really good brawlers and brawlers that aren't as good, I should say, is the knowledge of when to use your abilities, right? The cooldown usage tends to be at the same time the core is somewhere in the vicinity of that person. So you're not wasting your abilities on just one thing, like you're trying to gain possession of the core, or you're trying to snipe it at the same time when you know that someone's going to try to strike it through. And we saw right there, the KO onto Jay, as Jay was trying to jump in, catch the core, Scyther 12 saw that opportunity. That's when he used his abilities, got the KO onto Jay, and then you end up having the power play, right? So that ability usage, or the knowledge of when to use, or the appropriate time to use your abilities, is so prevalent in Scyther 12. And we're going to see that he's just going to hang out. He's not going to use abilities unless he sees an opportunity that Jay or someone else... Oh my goodness, a great comeback though from Leon. But you're going to use your abilities when the enemy team has to make a decision. I think that's the best way to put it, right? It's not just going to be like, oh, here's Drakkar, I just have to dodge this. It's, I have to take this interaction with the core or dodge Drakkar. And like, that's the type of tough moments you get put into against good brawlers.
Yeah, and it really feels like that's how Jay's been picked off in a lot of these situations. I feel like the core is always just a few pixels away every time I see Jay get sniped off the map by a shotgun. And I think overall is exactly what you mentioned. Scyther 12, a great brawler, right? The difference between the good and the greats, I'd say that comparison that you made. So obviously Scyther 12, a great brawler, knows how to use this efficiently. Flip comes out from Lily Bunn right now though, and there are some offensive plays going on here. Jay and Leo Leon, it really feels like they're playing on defense a lot of the time, but there is potential here to get through Lily Bunn, especially because Finny can get scored on just like that. Sometimes it happens. Finny just, if you have to use those abilities reactively, you're not playing the Finny goalie to its potential, and you could let a lot of stuff in.
Yep, but they managed to get it around while Scyther 12 was was hovering Weston. Just a good couple of bounces got it through. So maybe that's what they end up needing, where it gets to overtime, the core speed goes fast. You have Jay who has the 1-2 punch and the team player. Maybe you just get like a cheeky angle, and you can just play a little bit more defensive as the Juno and hang back. But Weston with no elusive, gets a pretty fortunate bounce off the bottom and ends up living there. It should have been taken off the map there by side to 12. But an abusive offensive pressure coming through by Lily Bunn, walking up to the midfield line, has the magnetized souls, has the glass cannon, right? So much movement speed. It doesn't matter if you even walk past the front of the midfield speed, or you walk past kind of like the goalie zone and lose your starting awakening effect, because you still get the bonus effect from momentum boots, even if you walk past. And then on top of that, you have the team player, you have the glass cannon. If you have no pressure onto Lily Bunn just acts as a second midfielder there, and it feels like it's impossible to get it through unless your brawler uses abilities, and then you don't have it for the offensive play.
Yeah, I mean, I was just looking at Lily Bunn's stats. It is a passive 616 movement speed. That is absurd. It really feels like we're back in that Finny pick or ban meta that we had a couple seasons back. But on the flip side as well, right? Weston dead, right? Scyther 12 and Liari at work, making sure Weston cannot play, right? And I talked about this earlier, right? That Drakkar could really shut down the win condition. But even if Scyther 12 decides not to focus on Weston, infamously, Estelle, low hit stun character, has the piercing shot, has the rose warp if needed to interrupt anything that Weston wants to do. And that could be really scary. That being said, Leo Leon here is finding some purchase here offensively, able to get the open net here. And this is where Lily Bunn can feel pressured here on the Finny, using those reactive abilities. Scyther 12, no strike shot gets strike, but it doesn't matter. A crazy bounce off the center area actually finds a goal out of nowhere from Leo Leon.
Yeah, gets the full combo there. There's so much knockback from the heavy impact and the spec training that I think that was a true combo. Normally, you aren't able to chain your abilities in that way unless you have enough hits done from the additional knockback and power that it lets you. But oh my goodness, just going for beautiful strike shotguns, gets it right through Weston's timing there. And now we have the offensive play. The primary from Estelle unable to connect. And actually, it is Scyther 12 got saved by Weston when he was going to get taken out by Leo Leon, but I don't think it actually mattered in that exact moment. Lily Bunn just coming through with the Finny card and scores it right in, showing off that new chroma of this season. And now we're going into set 3. This was the closest that RTF has been to taking the set off. That first set went so quickly, and seeing that what we have here, I'm actually not sure what Finny's going to take. It honestly might just be like Bulk Up or Among Us. No, going in for the Adrenaline Rush. I'm very surprised at that. I would have honestly opted in for one of the other two, but Adrenaline Rush is so strong. You know that you're going to get KOs through your Brawler or even Estelle. So that means the Adrenaline Rush is always going to be live on the Finny, who can even sit back in their goal box and just like tap someone with a secondary. But it could have been more of a deny from Leo Leon. Maybe it was just awareness that this is a potential win condition or comeback condition for the Juliet if they find a snipe off the side, like we see right here. Like imagine if Leo Leon had the ad rush, so maybe it was that exact situation that Lily Bunn was trying to prevent. And if that's the case, then really good pickup.
I mean, on top of that, right, this is Juliet that, got bulk up, right? Obviously, like, probably one of the best awakenings that she can grab. It doesn't matter that Liari does find that res work. I'm actually curious. You know what's really interesting? This fight or flight pickup from Scyther 12. I believe he picked it up over something like a Spark of Strength, which would not only deny Weston, but would also give him some extra power as well. And I'm wondering if he picks that for the secondary effect of fight or flight that we don't think about. That refresh on the secondary, which can be disastrous on the Drakkar, especially if he's chaining shotguns. I'm not sure if there is actually too much power on it. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that.
So fight or flight secondary effect is so strong, right? Especially because Scyther 12 has a siphoning wand. He's not necessarily going for knockback KOs all the time. Like he does just stagger people. And when you have Lily Bunn providing the triple take, the amount of damage that you do as Drakkar is insane. So having the second Xeno Cloak almost feels like an ad rush moment where you have the movement speed reset, and I'm looking at it more from an effect of being able oh my goodness, that almost scored right there. Scyther 12 is going for the long distance shot. Oh my goodness, the amount of damage coming through, and that's Lily Bunn using the ad rush there. But the fight or flight makes a big difference for following up on the goalie. Like we've seen how much he staggered Weston, we've seen how much he staggered Leo Leon as well, that you have the secondary dash for both either a follow-up on the KO as a reposition tool, or just being able to use it in the net and kind of juke out Weston and get like a free shot on net that, oh my goodness, Leo Leon with another KO. This might be what they need to come back. RTF, I believe. You guys get the middle here and maybe you get a chance to score. It was actually Lilybon, the goalie, being taken out, who had so much pressure there. But Scyther 12, Scyther 12 has played plenty of goalie himself, so a great defensive play from them. As Leo Leon tries to find the second KO, isn't able to get it, but I mean, this still, even with both barriers down, Brickbat, this still feels so in favor of Bunn Bunn, and I still say that as Scyther 12 got taken down as well.
Yeah. It feels like Lilybon and Liari feel so comfortable. They feel confident right now, and they're playing aggressively. They're playing a very measuredly aggressive play style, and it feels like, even though there are advantages going the way, and even a goal scored, like, I mean, 2 pickoffs on the Juliet, right? A court flip used to find that KO as well, and it still felt like RTF had to struggle to get a goal on what is, you know, a Fini, right? A Vidi goalie that should be crumpling pretty easily. And well, I mean, I think it just goes to speak that Bunn Bunn Bonanza feel great right now. Leo Leon, I'm sure, does not feel great right now. Is there are 3 members, right? Even if you are able to play into the corner into Scyther 12, Lilybon, the minute you get that cross clear, Liari is literally standing still waiting for it right now. And this
Liari's waiting for a pass.
The KO is there. Bunn Bunn or BM, the BM trying to find the KO, find onto Jay as well. Not going to happen, but they're going to be extremely happy with this series win there. An absolute mollywallop coming out from the Bunn Bunn Bonanza. They look dominant this series.
Yeah, I mean, what a phenomenal performance. Weston and Jay did their best to try to keep up, but we see how comfortable Bunn Bunn was. Their game plan just felt so much more concrete there. The amount of damage, I mean, we didn't actually talk about Liari much, but Liari did so much damage as well. Like, we see the 12,000. This is a pretty low damage game, but because of how quick it was. So when taking a look from that context, like, Liari did a lot of damage that just, like, went kind of behind the scenes. Like, we didn't see it happen as much, but we had the 2 KOs, got some picks as well, and then lined up that damage for Scyther 12 or Lilybon to take advantage of. So a phenomenal play from Liari in the backline, but Lilybon with 161 redirects was always there. This is the movement speed you talked about before, right? That base 600 plus movement speed. Lilybon was just playing midfield and goalie at the same time, and that allowed the double forwards to focus on damage. It allowed Liari to keep the ball up, use their abilities to keep the ball forward, while Scyther 12 could focus on either getting a KO at the right time or save the abilities for attempts on net. And yeah, I mean, it paid off so well. Weston was under so much pressure, like, had the 40 saves, right? We had so many more saves, or I shouldn't say so many more. We had more saves by Weston. The ball was always in their half, but you just like couldn't use your Mako abilities to their fullest extent when you have like these brawlers and double forwards just constantly beaming you down, interrupting your abilities, and trying to just KO you at the same time. I mean, this was a tough game for RTF. I think they played well for having double subs, but Bunn Bunn just phenomenal gameplay all around, and this gets them to 3-3, which would have been a really tough position if they were 2-4 right now for their playoff potential.
Yeah. And notably, right, RTF now down to 3-3 as well with the head-to-head. So this is a very, very economic, you know, cha-ching value win for the Bunn Bunn Bonanza as well. And with how tightly packed the kind of the middle of the league is right now, everything helps. It really does feel like a lot of teams that deserve to go to playoffs will not be making it. And it's a little bit it's every single win definitely matters, especially now that we are in the final third of the season. So that's going to be it, though. RTF versus Bunn. Bunn stand victorious on the day. We've got more Omega Strikers coming in soon after a caster swap and a map pick ban. So we will see you guys just in a second for more of the North American Strikers League.
All right, have a good one, you guys. Stick around.